I'm Chris. I'm 49, and I I'm married and I've got three girls. The first time I flew was when I was 18, and it was on a lad's holiday to Tenerife.
Mm.
And going there from Manchester, we had a few drinks and stuff like that, and I was nice and calm. And I think I fell asleep as we were taking off. So we had 10 days drinking in Tenerife, and then we got to the airport, and then we flew back. And
Mm.
obviously, I was hungover. We took off, and then we hit some turbulence, and that's when it started to freak me out a bit, and I started having panic attacks.
Right.
And it all stemmed from there, really. I was never comfortable with flying after that.
So you still
Um,
flew, but you just didn't like it.
no. I joined the army in 1997, and I had to fly. I had to fly to 3 or 4 war zones and stuff like that on the RAF flights. But I was always medicating myself, but not telling
Mm.
anybody really. Using my grandma's Valium, having a few drinks prior to it, but I was
Yeah.
still having panic attacks on the plane. I just couldn't get my head around it. I was spooked from that flight when I was 18 that in
Mm.
Tenerife. So I still can remember a old lady laughing at me when I thought we dropped about 1,000 foot, but it's probably just 1 foot. And she was just laughing at me, and I was just, a proper panic attack and stuff. So,
Bit
yeah,
harsh being laughed at, though, isn't it? Crikey.
yeah, but now I understand it now. Um, I went to Iraq a couple of times. We had RAF flights. We had to fly from Qatar on a Hercules, and it was night flights, and we were having tactical landings where it felt like we were just going vertical, land for
Mm.
5 minutes, get off, take cover, and then do our operational tour and then fly back. And just everything started to seem really, really bad, but it wasn't really. Now looking back on it, I was listening to every sound. I was,
Yeah.
yeah. We went to Canada as well on a flight, and I had a go around. So I feel like it was an honor to have a go around now, the way you spoke about it and stuff. But I can remember somebody saying, "No, I don't think we've got enough fuel to land again," and stuff like that. And with me having that fear,
Yeah. Yeah.
I it just snowballed into another
Yeah.
panic attack.
Yeah.
But it did affect me over a lot
Mm.
of years. It slowed my promotion down. I had low self-esteem. I just didn't think I was as good as everybody else who could fly.
Mm.
I was watching everybody on Facebook going on holiday, and I was like, "Oh, looks like we're gonna get a coach to Italy again with my wife, my poor wife."
Yeah.
We've drove to Barcelona before,
Mm.
36 hours. Um, it
How
got
long?
that
36.
36 hours with my three girls in the back,
Mm.
and I was just like, "What am I doing?" But it only took when I left the army. I did 24 years in the army, and it felt like there was a little bit of pressure off then. And then we had COVID, and I just thought I needed to make a change. I got to a
Mm.
stage in my life where I really needed to do something about it. I love traveling, and it it got that bad in the military. I retraded and I joined a maritime regiment, and I sailed the seven seas for 12 years, going through gale force winds, and that didn't really bother me.
So let me
To
just
a,
get this straight. So because of the fear, you literally retrained. So it's that went to a different part of the military because of the fear. Wow.
Not many people knew it, but yeah,
Mm.
that was the reason why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sailing the seven seas. I learned to drive speedboats and landing crafts and stuff like that, and work with the
Yeah.
Marines a lot. Um, yeah, that was brilliant. But I was seeing the world, but my wife wasn't seeing the world, and my children weren't seeing the world.
Mm.
Um, they had to suffer going on coach trips to Italy and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So it was eating me inside, really.
Mm.
I have had some failures as well. I did go on a fear of flying course with the Royal Air Force, and I just bottled it. when it come to the flight. That wasn't a very good drive back home. But I wanted to really stress to people that I have gone through a lot of, we don't say failures, do we? But I went through a lot of time. Yeah. But you beat yourself up about it. And what I want to say to people is just don't stop trying, because I've got there and I swore to myself that I'd never fly again at one point. So I can't do this anymore. But I did it, and you helped me do it.
Right. So before we get into that, don't spoil the ending. So let's go back a bit. So when you were avoiding flying, what was your core belief about flying?
I just thought I was an unlucky person, and I thought something was going to happen. I know the stats now, I know everything like that, but I just thought I was that kind of guy, that I was unlucky. It got worse when I had children as well. The thought of never being able to be with them again was just too much for me to take, really. And I don't know if I put everything onto flying, or because I was going on an operational tour to a war zone, maybe I was a little bit anxious about the war zone, but I put everything onto blaming it onto the fear of flying, if that makes sense. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that could have been it.
Well, I mean, it's obviously, there's a lot to be, if you're thinking about that as a job, it's going to cause thoughts in your head, isn't it? So it's hard to distinguish, is it flying? Is it operation? Who knows? So what was the turning point for you then? What made you think enough's enough?
Well, I have posted on my page that my wife's not too well. She's got MS, and I don't know if you read up on that. She's still okay. She's still working. She's a teacher. She's on good medication, but she is getting fatigued a lot. And she followed me around in the military for 24 years, and I saved a little bit of money, and I had to take her. We never had a honeymoon when we were younger. We had children when we were quite young, and I just wanted to give her a gift. I wanted to take her to paradise for all the things she's done for me. So I was just like, I had to do it. That was my goal, my anchor thought, to get her there. So
nice.
And it was brilliant. So I had to do that, but now nothing's impossible.
So that's great. So there's a really strong reason there, isn't there? We always talk about that, don't we? So you had a really compelling reason, and that's helpful. And so talk us through then how you exactly did. I know you've put posts in the Facebook group, but not everyone's on Facebook. Some people just come through Instagram or just listen to the podcast, So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about how you actually overcame it.
Well, it was my wife's 50th birthday last year in June, and I wanted to give her something really special. So I just took her to a travel agent, and I just looked at her and went, choose anywhere in the world we're going. And she was like, yeah, but you don't like flying. I said, I'm just going to do it. So I said, but please give me 12 months. I'm really going to put some training in here and give it my best shot. So she was over the moon. And then over the 12 months, I found Lovefly community. I got hooked on it straight away with you and all the admin team, Pete Higgins, and just how close everybody was, because it's quite unique. You are genuine people. I saw Geeta Brown, scared of flying, then started flying, boom. And then there was Melissa Twigden. I was shadowing her over the next 12 months because she was going to Canada, and she was going 20 days before me. So I was keeping an eye on what she was doing, and she proper inspired me. And just, the Lovefly page was absolutely amazing. Watching people take off, land, the Jamie Fraser one where he I don't know how he kept his cool, but he talked his way through taking off, cruise, and landing.
Yeah.
Just before I went was absolutely brilliant. And there was Debbie
Robotham. Yeah.
The biggest cheerleader in Lovefly ever. And what you don't see is people private message you, and they were messaging me just before my flight as well. So it was unbelievable. Catherine Bailey. I have to get these names out because they're
it's good. No, it's nice to name check. So when people listen, they'll know. Yeah, thank you.
Because what I did in February was I went to a runway park in Manchester and watched the planes take off all day. Really enjoyed it. And Catherine got hold of me and said there was a secret area where it was free to watch, and you were really close to the planes. So she got me an area where I was watching these big Dreamliners and A380s and stuff like that taken off, and it was just unbelievable, the power. And she also got the YouTube people to take a video of me taking off on my first flight in 18 years as well, which blew my mind. So I had to thank her. And also there was Gozia who went to Poland.
Yeah.
I tracked her on flight radar, which I'll probably get back to. And I tracked her. And what made sense was I tracked all the way, taking off and landing. And then afterwards, I watched her takeoff video, cruising and landing, and it all made sense. And I watched the altitude, the speed kept the same. And it just was fitting into place, all these things that helped me. So that was Lovefly. And I also did a flight simulator as well. I paid to go in that. I was fortunate to be able to. My wife bought me it as a gift. And it was a 2-hour thing. And I did tell them that was a fear of flyer. And
yes.
I took off in a 747, cruised and landed. And it went through all the instruments and that. I got a certificate at the end, and I was thinking, well, maybe I could help the pilot if they needed me.
Yeah. You know, if you pop in.
Yeah, just say I've got the certificate if you need a third pilot. That's me laughing at myself.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Imagine that.
But I really got a lot out of that. And I'm really interested in aviation now, how it all worked and stuff like that. What else did I do? I also got hypnotized. I went to see somebody and had 6 sessions with it, talking therapy, the tapping.
Oh, yeah.
It taught me how to tap in certain points to calm you down. Did a little bit of breathing. Did the 30-day program with Lovefly.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, what else did I do? And just watching YouTube videos. Was it Neil? I like Neil Phillips.
Noel Phillips, yeah.
Noel.
That's right. Yeah.
Noel Phillips. Actually, when I was on the Dreamliner going to Dominican Republic, when I was eating the food, I was like, I was pretending to be Noel. I was like, the food's not too bad. I went to the toilet 4 times, checking the toilet out. Can't believe how relaxed he was on an airplane. But yeah, I enjoyed watching them videos as well.
Yes.
Loads and loads of things I did to fit together to help me. And you always said trust the training, and it all fitted together at the end.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you took like a 12-month run at it, Buzz. So were you doing stuff like every day? Because it sounds like you did loads of stuff.
Looking at Lovefly once a day, listening to all the podcasts, I got a lot out of. Just not. They say you should not forget about the flight. Always think that you're going to fly, because I think people just say it's not going to happen. Don't they? And try to put it in the back of their mind. But it was always on the forefront of my mind. Yeah. That I was always going to fly. Where before I used to, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 months prior to the flights, I was tearing myself apart.
Yeah.
Worrying, not sleeping. But with this time, it was like 2 days prior to it, there was a little bit, and 2 days prior to it coming back, there was a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. The thing I find, well, there's lots of things I love about what you're telling me. So some of the bits, so starting, reverse engineer it. So you've got a clear reason to, and that, you've got something to go towards, which is very helpful. And then you've decided, you've done that audacious thing, said, we're doing it, telling somebody else, so there's no way of backing out. You've got the 12, and you said, give me 12 months. So you've given yourself a nice long run up. And then you've done lots and lots of different things, which you rattled off. And you've also not been afraid to lean on the help of others. So some of the amazing people in the Lovefly group that have helped you as well. Thank you for name checking, because some of the stuff we know about, but lots we don't. So I'm really grateful. We're all blown away at the Lovefly. A lot of us, we're just like, oh my God, these people are doing so much to help each other. So, and you're obviously part of that now. And then you've systematically you've taken it like a training thing and said, right, I'm going to check that, what's this flight, and then I'm going to compare this. And I love all that. And what was the other thing? The other thing that really struck me is that just think some of the stuff you've had to deal with in your life through your career. And, a lot of people will be listening thinking this guy's like proper fearless. And yet all of us have, so all the stuff that you've had to deal with and overcome, and yet this thing was eluding you. And I think that's remarkable, because it also shows you had tremendous resources. You just haven't used them yet, That's
I just think,
well, finished.
I just think 4 years ago, I did my first marathon. I'd done lots of half marathons and 10Ks and stuff. And my bucket list was to do a marathon. And it took me a lot of training to get to the stage when I was ready. And I just said to myself, right, this is like marathon training. Sometimes, I did 18 miles and I was like, hit the wall in training. And sometimes I paced it right and it was a great day and I had a great run, and I thought, I can do that. I can do this. Let's just put it into chunks, chunk sizes. Sometimes I'll have a bad moment. Sometimes I'll have great moments. And I classed it as that, like marathon training. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely.
For me. And it worked. And I'm really so glad it worked. We had an amazing time. Yeah.
So I totally agree. And I think this sort of like the sprint thing is versus the marathon, you absolutely nailed it for me. And it is, but break it down into chunks. You've done, you are literally living proof of taking the time and doing it systematically, how that works. And that's just very inspiring. So where did you go? You didn't actually say where you went and what you did.
We went to Dominican Republic in the Caribbean.
Nice.
And it was all inclusive, adults only. And it was paradise. We had a little sailing boat, and I was sailing every day. We went snorkeling. We had a massive big swimming pool and all the staff were absolutely brilliant, kind people. Helped you all the time.
Yeah.
There was always drinks getting passed here. The food was delicious. It was sunshine, and you could see it in my wife's eyes. It was absolute. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And we just had the best time ever. Couldn't have asked for a better time, honestly. It was the best place I've ever been in the world. And just we I don't know. We're still buzzing off it now. I had to go to work. I'm in construction now, and I did a kitchen refurb, back to the grind, but I was still buzzing and I was still on a high, when you got the holiday blues.
Yeah.
I was still okay because it was such a fantastic time.
Yeah.
But I've got to say the TUI staff on the Dreamliner was absolutely amazing. When I first got onto the plane, I did let them know in the notes in a travel agent, and then a lady came out and said, somebody who's a little bit nervous of flying, and I was like, that's me. And then she went, do you want to come and see the pilot? I know I'm lucky you can't have this all the time. So I went to see the two pilots, and he let me sit in his seat, and he talked to me about the flight. He said there was not going to be any turbulence or anything like that. And when we took off and we went to cruising height, he came to see me 3 times. And he went, "How are you doing? You okay?" And I was like, just blown away with things like that.
That is amazing.
And the cabin crew were brilliant. They gave me a certificate when we landed. The bravest passenger on the airplane. It was like I had a picture with her. But then it's just special moments like that, just to make you feel at ease.
Yeah, that is really cool. And it didn't worry you that when the pilot came back, you didn't think, who's flying the frigging plane then?
No, you've given me too much training, Paul. I understood what was going on. I ate all my meals. I went to toilet 4 times.
Thank you. I was going to ask, how many times you went to the toilet, because that's an important question for people. Some people don't leave their seats,
No. And and I relaxed. I did listen to music, but I was watching my wife's TV screen, and I felt like nothing could get inside. I was relaxed because I was doing 2 things at a time. I didn't really have to anyway, because I was calm. I've got to admit, when we first took off, I had weighted eye mask on.
Okay.
And I was listening to, the relaxing music you can have in spas. I was listening to that as we took off, and I just said to myself, we're just going to float up. I was relaxed, and we just floated up. And I chilled for a little bit. I had a little peek and saw the little ground on. I was like, oh, we're getting there. This is amazing. It is magic. And then we got to the seatbelt signs off, and then all of a sudden I just started to chill out a bit. And I was like, well, that's it. Now we're up. And it's a beautiful aircraft, though.
They are stunning. Yeah, they are. What about the flight back? Were you even better or the same?
Because we went all out and it was premium, we had a lounge in Manchester to chill out away from all the busyness, which was good. In Dominican Republic, we had to wait in the airport, and it was a bit more hectic, but I still was chilling myself out. I would listen to the audio book, the relaxation podcast, and just chill myself out. I think it was Geet who said about talking your way through things, right? I'm going to walk to the toilet. Now I'm going to go back to my wife. Now I'm going to go up to the boarding. Now I'm going to walk into, and if I thought something was coming into my head, I just used to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then all of a sudden that thought had gone.
Yeah.
And then I kept doing that until we sat down, and I said, here we go again. And we took off. I did the same thing with the eye mask and the nice music, floated up. And we did it a little bit of turbulence, but it didn't bother me really. Uncomfortable but safe, like you say. And I was just chilling. I didn't sleep. I wish I could. That's my next goal, is to sleep.
Yeah.
But I never thought this would ever happen. I know everybody says it. I said never, ever. And it did. And I hope everybody gets to this stage. They can do it.
Yeah.
They really can.
So that actually, that'd be really helpful. So if you had to this has been positive already. You've given lots and lots of things that you did. But if you had to give your your golden tip or tips, what would you say for people?
Well, like I said earlier, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So like my marathon training, small little bite-size help, bit of delicate exposure every now and then to get used to it. It's amazing when you keep watching everybody take off and land, how much you're used to it when the time comes.
Yeah.
You are anxious. Everybody's anxious just before, but when you get onto the plane, something changes if you've done enough training, and you start to relax. But everybody's different. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Some people only need 20 pieces. Some people need 200 pieces. But each piece has a little bit of a help on it. Breathing techniques, podcasts. Some people might need 200, but once you get it all together, it's a full jigsaw piece and you're ready to go. And then all of a sudden you start to get a little bit excited instead of worrying. you know, and we get triggers. We all get triggers. Like I just for some reason, like Space Invaders, and the triggers are coming down, and you need to shoot them away with tools that you've got somehow.
Yeah.
But that's your job to get it into your head.
Yeah.
And they can do it, but it takes work.
Mm.
It does take work, but I did it, and you can do it too.
You did do it. And also the other thing is, if you are in the Facebook group, Chris shared loads of stuff about his journey, his tips, and all the rest of it. And so it's worth Googling. Well, it's not Googling, but searching Chris's name, and you'll see his posts, and you'll see some of the stuff that he kindly shared, his journey. So that will help you as well. But honestly, mate, just phenomenal. I can't believe how well you did, and just how supportive you've been then to others as well. And just coming on here, giving your time and inspiring another load of flyers. I think it's brilliant. So what next for you then?
So we met some friends at Dominican Republic, and they've invited us to Chicago. So we want to go to Chicago next year. But prior to that, my daughter and her husband-to-be has got a place in Ireland. So we want to do an hour's flight to Ireland prior to Chicago. And I've got some loads of family in Australia, which is a bucket list of mine. I want to go to Australia, and I have a friend in Malta as well. So it's all getting lined up, ready to go. Nothing's impossible now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That. But
I love that.
I love traveling as well. I had to go through gale force winds to do it, and for weeks, and now it takes me hours to do it. I've got to say that Melissa did inspire me when I saw that picture when she landed in Canada. I don't know if I've already said this, have I? And I just euphoria when I saw her face. But that's what it can do, Lovefly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think, and I love seeing the struggle. You know, so I don't mean as in a sick way, like haha, you. But I like to see when people are genuinely struggling and they share that. So I got the sense from your journey, also from Melissa, who came when she came on and did the Q&A with Steve. She genuinely had hundreds of questions, and I had to cut the podcast because I stopped, and then she carried on and quizzed him some more. And I just to see that sort of transition in people, and obviously I can name lots of people, and you've mentioned quite a few of them already, to see that transition and to think that we're part of that. And yes, I'd love to think that it's down to a 30-day program, but actually it's like you've said, it's different bits of the jigsaw. So some people get it from the podcast, some people get it by doing other things as well, like you've done, and that's all good. You know, it's just nice to be part of that sort of success story, you know, which is just really, really motivating for us lot to see people like you out there doing it.
I wish I could name everybody, but you know, you get into a small little group, and you know, I've named a few people that have helped me, but there's been lots of others. But this is what this Lovefly community does. You just sit back and watch everybody do it, because
I know I'm a lazy sod.
We help each other.
Yeah, I was a lot busier at the beginning, but now I mean, in fairness, people like John, Susan, you know, on the Lovefly side, but then Pete's on there every day, Geeta's on there every day. I see Melissa, I see Debbie, you know, I see lots of these people, sort of familiar names coming up, and then others come and go. So Jamie was on for ages, and he went away back, he's back again. So it's just great. And apologies for not naming everybody, but like you say, there's so many people that just keep popping up, and I'm very, very grateful that. It's just amazing to watch it, you know, to think we started not that long ago, to see it sort of grow organically. And the thing I want to see is people doing stuff. So the ones that make my heart sink are the ones where they say, I'm flying tomorrow, I've just found the group, I'm panicking like hell. That's fine. Okay, episode 130, go and listen to that one. That'll give you something. But then it's like, what do they do next? Because that's the trick, isn't it? Because you can repeat the same experience. You can keep and go and do 50 flights, but if you don't do anything different in terms of like the training you've been talking about, nothing changes, and that's the crazy thing. So doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So you've got to do something different to disrupt the automatic patterns that we've got into. And that's what you were doing by bombarding yourself with lots of stuff. So fantastic. So do you think that this is a leading question, sorry, but do you think you need more training now, or do you think you're kind of like, that's it, I'm sorted?
I honestly think we're just the type of people who always need a little bit of refresh. So when I do fly again, I will still have my weighted eye mask and the relaxing music and the breathing techniques. And prior to it, I'll probably be in the passenger seat, lifting my feet up, shutting my eyes, thinking I'm in an airplane when my wife's driving all over the place. And I think we've got to, but I think I can now say I'm comfortable in flying, and I never thought I'd say that. But I think I'll always have to, just have a few little tools. Because you could have a flight when it's bad turbulence, so you've got to be ready for it, don't you? You've got to have them breathing techniques ready. But yeah, I am comfortable now.
Yeah, I think you're on it, because the thing is, just to sort of reinforce it, and you've said this very clearly, but you've got to do the training on the ground so that you can do it more easily when you're flying, because it's just like when you're under pressure, then it's what you've practiced kicks in. If you haven't done it, then you've got nothing to fall back on, and that's what you did. You built up lots of resources for yourself, so it gave you that extra capacity when you needed it. Amazing.
I had a notebook with all the breathing techniques. I didn't open it once, but it was there.
Yeah.
With everything I learned from the 30-day, from everything aviation, it was all in this book I bought. But it was there. I know it's a comfort blanket, but I didn't need it. But I think that just made me feel better because it was there ready for just in case I needed it.
Yeah, nice.
But
sorry, go on.
Sorry, Paul. I'd learnt the checklist off Pete Higgins' checklist off by heart in the brain anyway. I learnt the 4-2-6 breathing anyway.
Yeah.
Practicing it all the time. I learnt everything already. But when you have panic attacks, you can't think properly. It was a book there to open up if I did need it, but I didn't, luckily. So
that's really good.
Yeah,
I'm interested. Actually, there's a question, so from selfish question. With the 30-day program, we're refreshing it at the moment, and because I recorded it in 30 days straight through. I was helping a client because we do this premium one, which has coaching that wraps around it, and I thought, I would do a video every day, so I know what I talked about the day before, and I literally did it in 30 days. So it wasn't meant to feel like continuous, but we're looking at it now going, what were you talking about? So if there's something that you think should have been in there or was missing or you'd like to see, what would that thing be? So if you don't know now, I'll happily find out another time. But if there's something that occurred to you, thought, been good to heard from or to cover ...
Or maybe just have a poll of the top 20 tips from people on Lovefly, and could go through the top 20 tips that have helped people, or
that's a great idea.
And then they, last minute somebody said about bringing stress balls. I had 2 stress balls in my pocket when I was walking onto the airplane. But it helped. It helped a little bit. Just gives people ideas, and it gets them excited because they've got stuff they can rely on when they're doing it for the first time. And I think it just gets easier and easier and easier as you go along, hopefully.
I love that. So 20 tips. All right. So I will. I'll edit this out of the podcast and take credit for that. Thank you.
Maybe you put me on the spot then, so
I know I did. Yes, you could have told me to sod off, but you didn't. But I appreciate it. But you came good. I mean, that's something we hadn't thought about. That is a really great idea. So we will definitely do something like that. That's really nice, because particularly for the last few days of the 30 days, it's like we're now in the kind of the so what bit, and I think that would really fit nicely. So thank you, and thank you again for everything you've done, coming on today, and all the stuff you've done in the podcast, sorry, in the Facebook group and now the podcast to inspire people. So yeah, you've done amazing, Chris, and very grateful to you. So thank you.
No, you need credit as well, you and your admin team. You started all this and you're helping people traveling the world, and it's just the best thing ever.
Yeah, well,
So,
yeah, life
thank
is
you.
for living, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's like long time looking at the lid, as Billy Connolly says. So you've got to sort of seize the moment. You know, there's nothing worse than regret. I find. Thank you.
That's it. You're welcome. I hope I didn't come across as too I was a bit nervous, but rattling on too much.
No, it was great. Honestly, I'm going to stop recording now so you can relax.